Dragons, Vikings, school. What do all three of those things have in common?
They have pupils.
No, I mean, yes, but they're all in How to Train Your Dragon, which we're looking at today on DadToons Reviews.
DadToons Reviews, talking something new. DadToons Reviews, I'ma mention peer review. DadToons Reviews, we're talking about it all. You'll be being busy, dizzy, television, big and small.
It's DadToons Reviews. I'm Braden.
And I'm Matt.
And today we are talking about How to Train Your Dragon, the original How to Train Your Dragon from 2010.
Yes, not the books, not the 12 books that were written, but the adaptation of the book, the original book. Yes, the film.
The computer animated film from 2010.
Yes, the 3D computer animated motion picture by
That's
DreamWorks
right.
Animation. Now that we've cleared that up,
yes,
I think we can get into our summary of the movie. Hiccup is the misfit son of Viking leader Stoic the Vast in a village that is used to being terrorized by dragons. When he discovers an injured Night Fury dragon, he realizes that instead of fighting the dragons, the community should befriend them. Together, Hiccup and his newfound dragon friend prove to their tribe and his own father that there's more to dragons than meets the eye. Transformers. All right.
Yes, and it makes sense that this movie came out in 2010 because it's like all of those, like all the voices are all people who were peaking right about then.
Yeah, that is true.
It was great to hear Jonah Hill and Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Yeah. And this is hot off of let's see. Superbad was 2007, right? 2007.
That sounds right.
So I think that's how they got
7.
Yeah, I think that's how they got cast in this because that was a hit, and then they became part of like the Apatow verse, right?
Yes.
And that's what it feels like when I'm looking at the cast of at least the kids. It's all kind of Apatow verse people, it feels like, right?
Which is interesting. I think they were going for dragon slaying. This is like high school, like that. I think, and it's kind of, there's a part of it where it's like nerds versus jocks.
Oh yeah.
And I think they were going for that, and I think they were casting characters we know from Superbad to invoke that, I guess.
Which is also funny though, because Jonah Hill plays a nerd in Superbad, right? He's not a jock, but he's playing a jock in this.
Yeah, that's true.
And then Christopher McLovin, he's also
McLovin-Plasse.
Yeah, as he will always forever be known. Yeah, he's McLovin for life. We are McLovin it, but he. Yeah, I mean, he was the nerdiest nerd in Superbad for sure.
Well, and he's the nerdiest jock here.
That's true, and he's the fat one. He's a big,
which is weird because he's not a fat person.
Yeah, he's a very, very skinny person. Yeah, they kind of just they're not worried really in this movie about like the design matching the voices, right?
So we've already started talking about the cast. That was one of the points I wanted to talk. That was one of the points I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I would almost say
that's your first impression.
Yeah, that was my first impression. The first thing you hear is Jay Baruchel's voice, right?
Yeah.
First impressions, you immediately notice it's Jay Baruchel. You start to pick up on what the world is like, and they have a big scene of like they're fighting dragons, right? Mm-hmm. And he's going through all the elements of his little society and how it works. And I think that's good to have a quick rundown, a quick montage kind of what's going on. And then you also get what his motivations are immediately, which is cool. And so that really sets the plot up and kicks it off pretty quickly.
Yeah, so I like Jay Baruchel. My problem and first impressions, I don't like the character design. It annoys me. It's off-putting.
Yeah.
But it's DreamWorks. Something about DreamWorks character design is always weird to me, and I can't quite put my it's ugly, I guess.
I wouldn't say that this art style is typical DreamWorks style though. I wouldn't say it was traditional DreamWorks style when it came out.
I feel like they're all like big eyes and like, I don't know, plasticky skin. I feel like that's a DreamWorksy look. I'd say most of the characters are ugly. The main character, Hiccup, visually is boring.
Probably on purpose a little bit, yeah.
Sure. The only character that I would say is good, the only human character whose character design I like is Astrid. She looks like a regular person. She looks like a real person with I think, with thoughts and feelings.
I think I know why her design looks like a real person. I think it's because they want the audience to be like, oh yeah, she's pretty, because she is the love interest. And so you don't want the love interest to look funky and have people like be like, oh, why is he like her? Right.
You want her to be pretty, but you also want her to fit in with all of these ugly characters. Yeah. And I don't think she quite does.
They've got really distinct, weird shapes, like, okay, so his dad's stoic, has a small head and a giant body. They did that on purpose because he's supposed to be like a big, powerful man, but like it does look goofy.
Well,
it definitely
and it's
looks
not
goofy.
Consistent. Like if all the characters looked like that and were at least the same shape, the characters should all be roughly the same shape.
Yeah.
Unless it's like SpongeBob SquarePants and they're all different species. That being said, I didn't like the design of the human characters, but I did like the design of the dragons. They were cool.
Interesting.
I really liked Toothless. Toothless is like a cat dragon.
He's kind of like a dog too. They kind of toe the line between whether he's cat-like or dog-like, right?
Yeah. Well, he purrs, and I feel like he looks cat-like.
Well,
his design is cat-like.
Yeah, he definitely looks cat-like. He definitely looks like a black cat. He looks like the cat that we used to have named Leo. He was a black cat, green eyes, looked just like Toothless. Yeah, so that's actually one reason why my wife actually enjoys this movie a lot, and she likes the series. That's cool. Just because she reminds her of her cat. Yeah.
And it kind of looks like the cat, and I thought this while I was watching it. It kind of looks like the cat from Flow, the movie we watched.
Because it's a black cat. Yeah. They all kind of look the same, right?
Oh, no, I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. But I liked the dragons, and when we get to see more dragons, it was cool. And I mean, spoilers, I guess. When
there's no spoilers. This is a 10-year-old movie, 15-year-old movie.
Yeah, it's more than that, man.
Yeah.
The giant dragon at the end, I really liked a lot. Like the colossal dragon, I liked the design of it. I thought it looked cool. It was kind of Godzilla-like.
Oh, that's exactly what I put in my notes. Yeah, Godzilla-like. I was like, is this about the size of Godzilla? Because it feels like it. Somebody says that it's the queen. It's like the hive, and that's the queen. And then later Hiccup refers to it as him, right? When they're fighting against it. Or he's like, oh, he's big or something like that. I can't remember. So yeah, I didn't know if it was a female giant dragon or a male. Not that it matters, but it was weird that they kept like referring to it both ways.
I like to think that it reproduces asexually.
That's possible, yeah. I do feel like Toothless is a little too cartoony looking. He should look a little bit more realistic dragony, and that's
a little scarier. I think
a little scarier, yeah.
I think he just looked cute,
right? Yeah. So it's like, okay, so Hiccup. He's been watching Toothless and everything. He should be like scared of the dragon. It is a big dragon and it's unpredictable and everything. And everybody's scared of, night furies, and nobody knows anything about night furies. So it seemed like something where somebody would want to go up and pet this thing,
Yeah.
It's like I find a cat in my backyard and I want to pet it,
Like it made perfect sense that he didn't want to kill it because it's adorable.
Right. Yeah.
If it were like snarling and scary, we would want him to kill it. And that's something that kept sticking with me about this was that so Hiccup is just dominating the dragon in a different way. Like he's still not, in my opinion, he's still not being that cool to the dragon. Like he's strapping stuff to it, and like the dragon is dependent on Hiccup because his tail is broken.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the dragon is Hiccup's prisoner.
Yeah, and Hiccup did injure the dragon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder.
He's the reason why Toothless has a broken tail.
That's right. It's like an abusive dynamic.
Yeah.
And it took me a minute to be like, okay, I'm just supposed to see the dragon as an animal, like a cat.
You know, I mean, the goal here is like, you know, it's a meet cute. They become friends. They're not supposed to be friends. It's a forbidden, you know, friendship, and they beat the system, right? So like that's what we're supposed to be feeling.
I was inspired to make a list. Kids movies from the 2000s and 2010s where a male character and his dad struggling to relate is a central conflict to the movie.
Okay.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, The Lego Movie, Finding Nemo, The Croods, Meet the Robinsons, The Good Dinosaur, Tarzan. Am I missing any? It's a common trope. Now, a slightly shorter but still interesting list. Kids movies from the 2000s and 2010s where a quirky inventor character is misunderstood.
Okay. Definitely Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Yeah.
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs again.
Yes.
A Bug's Life.
Okay.
Robots. Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius. Treasure Planet.
Okay. Well, A Bug's Life wasn't. A Bug's Life was like 1997.
So I think maybe the point I'm trying to make is this movie feels like
a lot of the same.
Like a lot of the same. It feels like, I mean, it's not bad. It's good. Like it's animated well. I think I have a feeling that I like the casting better than you. I don't think it's perfect, but I think he's a good Hiccup. I actually think he does an excellent job in the scenes with Toothless, where he has to be conflicted or where he has to be nice to Toothless and or vulnerable. I think he does a really good job.
Okay, I think Jay Baruchel has a good like emotional range. I think he does a good job like delivering the lines. You know, a lot of the dialogue is nice and quippy, and the performances feel pretty natural. Like the conversations feel pretty natural. Like he did a good job in this performance, but I personally don't like the casting solely based on the reason that he doesn't really sound like a kid. Like he does have that squeaky teenager voice, but that's his normal voice, but he also has the deep man voice, you know? So it's a weird, it's just a little too wonky for me. Yeah. Because, you know, Jay Baruchel has got like, he's got like that like weird thing going on. That's not to that effect. Like it wasn't not that bad, but like Dad, I can't kill a dragon.
Oh, one line I wrote down, because there's a lot of lines in this movie that are really on the nose.
Yeah.
That are really like, here's the part of the movie this is, or like, here's exactly what's happening in the story. Yeah. And one was where Jay Baruchel says, "This fixes everything."
This fixes everything. This is at the beginning. Yeah, this is at the beginning when he first finds Toothless injured, and he's like, "Oh, great, I can kill it now."
That's pretty good. I think Craig Ferguson was painfully underused. Poorly used, because he's like one of the funniest guys ever.
He is.
And he didn't really get to be that. Like, he should have been the Robin Williams of this movie. You know, like, he should have been the comedic, like, energy throughout the whole movie.
I think that's what they were trying to do. He's the one who
I don't think it worked. If that's what they were trying to do, I don't think they succeeded.
I think he was following the script, but yeah, he was usually the one that delivered comedic lines. He was like, "Oh, glad I brought fresh underwear." Something
That's
like
another
that.
thing I made a note of is there aren't that many jokes.
Yeah.
It should be funnier, I guess. I wish it was funnier.
I
I wish
think-
there were more jokes.
Yeah, I think it's trying to be like kind of emotionally resonant. It's trying to be like kind of powerful in a way, which you can tell by just the way they treat a lot of scenes.
So one thing that I thought was cool is that the character. So at the beginning, one of the first things Jay Baruchel says is that they're given hideous names, and his is Hiccup, which like is trying, which is his character, kind of like he's trying to fit in. And I guess his whole character arc is learning that maybe he shouldn't. Him getting the confidence to tell everybody else that he's a dragon lover or a dragon tamer. So
Dragon lover.
I like Astrid and Hiccup's relationship.
Situationship.
I like their situationship. I enjoyed it. I like their awkwardness. Hiccup and Astrid are arguing. She's like, "Are you serious?" And he says, "Yes." And then there's like a turn in Astrid, and she's like, "Okay, I'm following you now."
Yeah, because he's asserting himself
Because
finally.
he's asserting himself, and I really liked that. I liked that scene a lot. I like Astrid being like, "Okay," like and that was a good turn in Hiccup, so I liked that. And I liked everything with Astrid and Hiccup, all their heart-to-hearts. I liked that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Astrid also she didn't really like him until she realized that he had a pet dragon either. She kind of hated him.
Until she saw what was good about him.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she
saw
the good thing about him was his nurturing nature, maybe his ability to tame these dragons.
The things that he was actually hiding. He was hiding it from people. So it's not that he didn't exemplify those things. It's that he wasn't showing them off to people. And like the director, and this is like, a film trilogy, right? But the director like describes the trilogy as Hiccup's coming of age story, the whole trilogy.
Okay.
So
I haven't seen any of the sequels.
So this first one is just, the beginning of that story. And we haven't mentioned it yet, but let's just start talking about it, I think. But the directors of this movie, this first one, are Chris Sanders and Dean Deblois. Did you know that?
Oh, shoot. I didn't know that.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm very surprised to hear that, actually.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I mean, we've been talking about Lilo and Stitch extensively, our last 3 videos, and all of our shorts lately have been Lilo and Stitch, which is also a Chris Sanders, Dean Deblois film. And this is the next and final time that they collaborate up till now.
Well, it's also interesting because the live action remake of both of those movies is coming out like a month within each other.
Yeah, that's pretty
weird.
crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's weird.
That's really strange.
It's very interesting. And the other interesting thing, Dean Deblois is actually directing the live action of this movie.
Oh, that's great. So from the trailer I saw of the live action, it looks pretty exactly the same. like it looks pretty similar.
Yeah, I think what I heard about it is that Dean Deblois was like, I think it was basically he was seeing all these live action Disney remakes and he's like, oh crap, DreamWorks is probably going to hop on this train soon. So he started like talking to them about it. And he was like, if I don't do it, somebody else is going to do it wrong. And so he was like,
that's exciting.
Yeah. So he's like, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right. And so I'm very excited to see that movie, just to see the difference, one, between, this and that, but also see what kind of a difference it would make by having the original creator actually like completely involved in that remake, unlike Lilo and Stitch.
It's exactly like what we were talking about in our Lilo and Stitch live action review.
Yeah.
Is like, would the creators approve of this remake?
Right.
And so this time we know for sure, at least one of them will, because he's behind the camera.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's been talking up that movie like crazy. Yeah. So it's very interesting. It is interesting that they came back and collaborated together on this at a completely different studio.
So are they both involved in the sequels too?
So Dean Deblois wrote and directed both of the sequels as well.
Oh, okay.
So he really is the one who stuck around in the franchise and kept developing it. Chris Sanders is only involved in this one movie in the franchise.
Well, I was going to say visually, this movie didn't thrill me.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, it's okay. Like, it's okay. It's kind of drab sometimes.
Yeah.
Visually, to me, the best scenes were when they were flying around on the dragon.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to mention. Like, that's the time when the camera is flying through the air and spinning around, and you're really capturing, like, you know, some imagination there, versus everything else is pretty much grounded. And they really, like, created it as if it was a live action movie, but they have cartoony characters. So it's really interesting that this is an animated movie when it really feels like a live action already. You know, it feels like that's what they were going for.
Yeah. Oh, this is just making me more excited to see the live action remake, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about this movie is that, like, everything in it is pretty much inoffensive, you know, like, you can't, like, really dislike this movie, but it's almost so benign that it just doesn't matter to me that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's the kind of movie where, like, if you first saw it when you were 9 or 10, I could totally understand why you might have a lot of fuzzy good feelings for it.
Sure. In a different way from, like, Lilo and Stitch, where Lilo and Stitch is so unique and fresh and different that it just really stands out. You know what I mean? If this really stood out and we were looking back at it and I was watching it, I really feel like I would connect with it a lot more, you know?
Yeah.
But I will say, like, the best scene by far in this movie is just when Hiccup and Toothless make their first contact, you know, and they become friends. Like, when they start to trust each other. I think that scene is really good because it's pretty much like it's told without dialogue. You know, it's like it's similar to Flow, where you're like watching in Flow, you know, a movie that we reviewed recently. You can click the link over here to go watch our review of it.
Oh, cool. We're linking to our other videos. I love this. We're like YouTubers.
Yeah, similar to Flow, your brain like almost fills in the dialogue for Toothless, right? It's like you just understand what both of them are thinking in that moment, even though there's no dialogue. So I really, really like that scene. It's definitely the best scene by far. It's clearly the one they spent the most time on, I think.
I feel like it's probably one of the first scenes that they thought of.
Yeah, and I think that one is like, that is the iconic moment. It is an iconic moment from this as an animated movie. I think maybe it is one of DreamWorks' more iconic scenes. So we talked a lot about the things that we like about this movie already, the things that we didn't like. Let's get into some, like, a little bit more just nitpicky stuff. Let's get into our nitpicks.
Okay.
Nitpicks. Come get your nitpicks.
Okay, I'm excited about nitpicks. So at the end, when Hiccup is being attacked by dragons or whatever, and he, like, cries for help, and Toothless miles away randomly hears him and comes to his rescue. That was annoying. Like, he's shouted many times and Toothless never came to his rescue then. I guess they had just the right amount of love and respect for each other at that point in the story for Toothless to come rescue him. But that was annoying to me. It was too convenient.
Maybe Toothless was just like keeping an eye on him the whole time and just, you know, because Night Furies are very hard to detect. You know, he's probably like up above the clouds and just like surveilling him, you know?
No, because they showed a shot of Toothless like laying on the ground and his ears perked up.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, my friend is in trouble. And it's lame.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Another nitpick. I think the logo feels too glossy and modern. It just doesn't match the actual setting or the time period of the film at all. It's honestly
solid nitpick.
Yeah, it's
Solid
probably
nitpick.
one of the things that put me off from seeing this movie back in 2010, because it's not what else came out in 2010 or around then, like was animated. I think we had like Wall-E and some other things like that. We definitely went to go see some of these movies in the theater. Wall-E was 2008, you know, like we were drawn to those movies.
I think you're exactly right. There's
Yeah.
something about it that like feels childish. I know it's based
Yes.
on a book series. So
Yeah.
is it just the book series logo?
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh.
It's not anywhere close. And I think the book series actually, if you did use the logo from the book series, I'm pretty sure it's got a little bit of what I want here, like a little bit of a Gaelic, like Norse design, like interwoven into it. Something like they did with Brave, you know, because Brave has that kind of Celtic pattern on the letters. Just something like that, or make the letters look like they're made out of stone, carved out of stone, you know, something like that. Give us something like that. One of the other things that's a nitpick here is there's no title sequence at the beginning, because I was trying to see, okay, do they use this logo at the beginning? Because I know it wouldn't fit this film. And they don't have a title sequence at all. They go DreamWorks and they go right into the movie. And I tried to like look back and find the intro title sequence, and I couldn't find. I literally watched the beginning 20 minutes like 3 times in a row trying to find it.
I feel like that is a particular stylistic choice that I've definitely seen before. And I think the idea is supposed to be like, that's the movie you just saw. You saw the whole thing. Wasn't it awesome?
Yeah.
Like we're not playing around with credits. Boom. Here's the movie.
Yeah.
And especially because it starts with a big dramatic dragon attack.
Sure.
Right. So you don't want to interrupt that.
Yeah,
with
you
credits.
get right into the action.
Although you could have. But
I mean,
that's an interesting nitpick.
I do think it was a good call to have that like if it's going to be that logo, just put it at the end.
Yes.
I don't care. I don't want to see it at the front. It doesn't match the movie at all. Anyways,
I agree.
You got any more nitpicks?
Just in general, the dialogue is very on the nose. Like there's one part where Astrid says, "You lost everything."
Did he?
Yes. And it's like, this is your low point. This is the all is lost moment of the story. And it's like, she could have said that.
Here's a nitpick. Did they talk about his mom at all in this movie?
No.
Yeah, that was weird.
Are there any moms?
I would have expected them to be. Yeah, that's a good question. I would have expected them to be like, "Oh, we lost your mother," you know, and that's why I'm so upset, and I want you to be, you know, this big Viking boy.
Okay, fan conspiracy theory.
Okay, pom pom.
Fan conspiracy theory. All of the men in the How to Train Your Dragon universe all conceive with one woman, like a queen, like a queen bee.
Just like the queen dragon, yes.
Exactly. So we're not so different, right? That's the idea. So because you don't see any moms, it's all men. It's a patriarchal society. So somewhere in a room, there's a woman, and she's just the breeding woman, and she's pregnant all the time, and she's everybody's mom. So that's my fan theory.
Actual fans of this franchise will probably know what happens later, where you bring in his mom, but
I see.
They don't mention him. I don't think they mention her at all in this.
Oh, okay, because I haven't seen the other ones. Yes,
but yeah, fan theory busted.
Busted. I have a really big nitpick, but one smaller one first.
Yeah, give it to me.
So we talked about how the abusive relationship between Hiccup and Toothless. And clearly he's learned it from Astrid. Astrid always hits him and then kisses him.
Okay.
Like it happens like 3 times. She's like, this is for lying, and then this is for everything else. And she kisses him.
Yeah.
And it happens multiple times. And that's not cool. That's not a good dynamic to teach children. You don't hit your loved one and then kiss them to make up for it. That's called abuse. That's domestic abuse.
Yeah, and we take fictional abuse as seriously as actual real life abuse here at DadToons, and we stand by that.
Well, it's not. I mean, It's not. It's
And
an
we're moving
abusive
on.
relationship dynamic. Okay. So I was very interested. Did you notice that I was very interested when you said that Chris Sanders was one of the creators of this? Because there's a scene in this that is also in the live action Lilo and Stitch.
Okay.
Towards the end of the movie, Hiccup and Toothless are both drowning underwater.
Yeah.
The dad rescues Hiccup, and then because he's had a change of heart, he goes down and he rescues Toothless, which it's a dragon. It's got to be heavy. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But it's the same scene. That same scene happens in live action Lilo and Stitch, where Nani rescues Lilo and then has a change of heart and goes and rescues Stitch. Same scene.
Yeah, the scene that I hate. Yeah.
And it's in this. Did you hate it in this?
I didn't love it in this because I kind of knew why it was here, because like I was like, you know, somehow they got to make this dad likable, right? And I was right about this, because let's get into the fun facts section right now. Fun facts.
Wow. All right.
Fun
Excellent.
facts. Fun facts.
Oh, I love when we go to section. I love our section.
Fun facts. All right. I got a lot of fun facts from another documentary that Dean Deblois and Chris Sanders were filming on their camcorders again, because they did this for Lilo and Stitch when they were creating it, and they did that for this movie, and it's awesome because they basically are documenting their whole creative process, right? So that specific scene was actually added very late in the process. They had a note that was like, we need to make the dad likable. So the dad has to do something to kind of redeem himself, which I agree with. I do agree with.
Well, I hate the dad. I hate him the whole time.
Yeah, he's horrible.
I feel like at the end, when the dad is like, I respect you, finally, like Hiccup should have told him to kick rocks. like, yeah, I don't like the dad. He's a jerk the whole way through. And he rescues Toothless because now he sees how it can benefit him. He's a piece of crap. I don't like him.
Yeah, he's horrible. He says horrible things, and then he's just like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I actually mean the opposite now that you proved me wrong. That was my main problem with him, is like, he didn't even turn around until it was like obvious that it was that he was wrong. Right?
Yes.
And everybody else thinks that he's wrong. You know, they're all going along with this plan to go. We got to go to the nest. We got to kill the nest, you know, and none of them want to do it. The whole movie, none of his men want to do it. So like, he's wrong already. You know, it doesn't matter that dragons can actually be tamed. Like, he's already wrong. So yeah, I don't like the dad. And here's the thing, is like, this whole thing was based off of, you know, a lot of tent poles that Jeffrey Katzenberg wanted.
So was one of Jeffrey Katzenberg's rules that Steve Martin should voice the dragon?
No, thank God. But I mean, I think his kind of philosophy is clearly at play here, you know, with your Jonah Hills and your Christopher Mintz-Plosses.
Yes,
and
for sure.
You know, the only person in this cast that like I couldn't immediately place was Kristen Wiig. You know, she's the only one who's actually putting on a voice that like isn't really recognizable, which is a good thing.
She has like 2 lines.
That's true. Okay, so the 3 tent poles that Jeffrey Katzenberg asked for, he said, look, guys, I want 3 things. I want a father-son story. Bang, bang, bang.
There you go. Yeah.
He says, I want a big David and Goliath ending. And then he says...
yeah, he got that.
Can you guess what the third thing he asked for was?
A romantic relationship.
No, a Harry Potter tone. Do you think it hit that? A Harry Potter tone?
I made a point of like, Dragon School is such a big part of this, and why? And I guess that's probably why.
Chris Sanders and Dean Deblois, after getting steamrolled for an Oscar by Spirited Away in 2002, they lost the Oscar again for this to, guess what it was? 2010.
Oh, okay. Okay, Oscar guessing again.
Yes.
Okay, this is harder.
This is a game we like to play. Oscar guesses.
Yes, Oscar guesses. Okay, so 2010 What did it lose to?
Yeah, what did it lose to? 2010.
Nope. I didn't say it.
Okay.
No, I take that back. The Muppets. No, that's not animated.
No. You went to go see this in the theater, I swear. I'm sure you did.
Oh, then it's probably Pixar.
Yes, it is.
Is it Toy Story 4? 3.
Toy Story 3, yes.
Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3. So I think that is fair that they lost to Toy Story 3. I think
Toy
that's
Story
fair.
3 is a better movie. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think Chris Sanders went to the Oscars thinking he had it in the bag?
For this, I don't know. I do think this was kind of, I think they were trying to get it. You know, this feels like Oscar bait in a way.
Yeah,
it really
animated
does.
Oscar bait. Yeah,
yeah, and on paper, if you look at this and you look at Toy Story 3 without having seen Toy Story 3, you got to be like, well, this is gonna win, right? This boy befriends a dragon, and you know he's connecting with nature, and he's connecting with his father, and the two are learning about each other and all that.
Yeah, and Toy Story 3 is the next Toy Story, and at the time, people were like, really, another Toy Story? Just like they are every time another Toy Story comes out.
Yeah. Another fun fact here, they talked in their featurette about how Jeffrey Katzenberg was a great collaborator, and that he isn't afraid to challenge conventional wisdom with animation. He would tell them all the time, don't be afraid to push it harder. And he mentioned in this documentary, he was talking to them, he's like, I almost think that Toothless could die and it'd be okay. You know?
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's like, don't be afraid to explore any avenue.
Whatever you want to do. That's awesome. That's great. That's
which is notable. It is notable too, because this was, an animated movie based off of, it was an adaptation of a children's novel, right? And a novel series that apparently was really popular, and that's why they bought, the rights to it. But it almost has no resemblance to the actual the book series. Yeah. A fun fact here, in the book series, Toothless is about Chihuahua sized. He's a tiny little runt of a dragon, and that was kind of the point. Oh, the runt. They were like, Hiccup is the runt of his family, and Toothless is the runt. So they're a match made, but
they have a similarity like that at the end. Hiccup loses his leg.
Oh yeah, that was another thing that was mentioned in the documentary about kind of how they brought that in. So another fun fact here, Tom Owens originally suggested the peg leg as a joke because it's kind of, he thought it would be funny that it would be normal and celebrated in Viking culture to lose your leg, lose an arm, lose an eye, or whatever.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, but they eventually just came back to this because they thought it would be a powerful moment at the end. And then Steven Spielberg, he's a part of DreamWorks. He's one of the founders. He came in and he was the one who suggested that Hiccup wake up to Toothless being in the room when he's waking up, and he's like, you're in the room? Oh. And he's flying around the room. It's a little fun moment.
Because he notices a really good thing that has changed about his life. He can now be honest about who he is. And he realizes that right before he realizes he lost a limb. So it kind of softens the blow.
In a way, yeah. He did walk out of his little hut, and he's like, oh man, I really am dead, because they're all hanging out with dragons.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. But
great.
yeah,
one of at least two movies that ends with Jay Baruchel thinking he's in heaven because he dies in This Is the End. And he goes
yes, This Is the End. That was
very
such a
similar
great movie. Very similar movie. Pretty much the same, the same story and the same amount of heart, I would say.
Do you hear that? I think that's the soft Jamaican sound of Does It Work?
Does it work? Let's talk about the elements, okay? Let's talk about the father-son relationship. Does that work?
No, because I hate the dad, and I want the son to abandon his dad and never speak to him ever again.
Yeah, I think we agree with that. He's so horrible to his son.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think they were trying to go for a situation where, yeah, he was kind of like, he had his aspirations for what his son would be, you know, and they were strong and stuff, but it was really him just like pushing him around, putting him down, the other people in the tribe putting him down. And the only time that they actually like note his value is, again, like I said, after they learn that he's actually right, you know?
Yes, after like
it's
a
obvious.
Godzilla monster has destroyed like most of his army, and there's no denying it anymore. Now he'll finally take his son seriously.
Yeah,
I agree.
What other elements
So no,
of this
that doesn't
movie?
work.
Yeah, that doesn't work. And that is one of the 3 tentpoles of this movie. So that's a massive thing, right? I'd say it like just works at a base level when it comes to like the relationship of Hiccup with Toothless. Like, I would say that works, I think.
Yeah. So what was the other tent pole?
The second one was David and Goliath moment at the end.
Oh, okay. So that is when Hiccup and Toothless like shoot a laser beam into the Godzilla's mouth.
Yeah, I guess so. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, speaking of laser beams, I did like Toothless's unique type of like purple fire bomb kind of. It's also like that kind of plasma blast. I did his little unique feature.
So I do think a big part of this movie, I think you're right, it was kind of Oscar bait-ish.
Yeah.
And they're definitely going for an emotional thing, like you're supposed to cry at the end, probably. Does the emotional journey of it work? I'll answer. I'd say kind of.
Yeah.
Like, I liked the ending. I liked the scenes. Like I said, I liked all the scenes with Astrid and Hiccup. And it's well done. I like their relationship here. So I'd say that kind of works.
I get why they casted Jay Baruchel as this. I mean, obviously, like he's got that little whiny kind of like teenager, like, oh, my voice is changing. Oh no. Oh, he's got that. So I understand why. I just, again, I know him already. I'm distracted by it. That's fine. I'm not too upset about it at all. It is just distracting to me.
So overall, does it work? And is this where we start to talk about our score?
Sure. Yeah. I think overall it works fine, but it's like at a marginal level. Like, it's just not exceptional to me.
Yeah, inoffensive is a good way to describe it. Like,
yeah, inoffensive.
Like, it's fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right, and I wouldn't disagree with anybody enjoying it. You know what I mean? I'm like,
sure,
I get it. And I know there is a big cult following of people that just absolutely love these movies, right?
Yeah.
And this movie in particular was, you know, a smash hit at the box office, which is why they did, you know, 2 spin-off, 2 sequels, and several of the spin-off TV shows. It's just, you know, I guess people like it. All right, so we talked about whether this works or not. I think both of us are kind of on the same page. It works in some aspects, it kind of works in others. But let's get to the review scoring right now.
Yes.
You know, I have my rubric that I started following last time, where I score a point in each category that I wrote down. And you have 10 categories, so you can get X amount of points out of 10.
Yeah.
So
yes. And so last time I went with my gut, and I made a big deal about that. And and this time, watching How to Train Your Dragon, I was like, oh man, I need some help. I don't know what to score this. Because it's a hard thing to do, to give a number to a movie. It's difficult. So
especially if you don't feel like a particular connection or hatred for it, right?
I don't feel a fire in my heart about this movie.
Yeah.
I don't. So I did try your scoring method this time.
Okay.
And we'll see if I decide to keep doing it.
Okay, well, I'll give you my score first, and then we'll talk about your score and see if it kind of matches up with what you would give it with your gut. Because it seems like you're having the same kind of issue that I had last time, where it's like you don't want to give a bad score, and you just kind of want to see if like you add it up and it is a bad score, right?
Sure, yeah.
So mine, I gave it a full point for compelling story. You know, I think there's a few strong performances in here. So I gave it like half a point for that. There are certain things that I didn't like. Like, I mean, I just don't think it's very rewatchable for me. So that's the only category that really got a 0. Overall, I think this is an above average movie. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 based on my scientific scoring system here.
So I gave it mostly 0.5s.
Okay.
Because I feel like most of the time it was okay.
Yeah.
You know? I gave it a 1 in compelling story. And I gave it a 1 in effective direction. I gave it a 1 in emotional impact.
Okay.
I feel like those are the things that it did really well overall. And yes, I gave it a 0 on rewatchability. Overall, I gave it a 6. Same score as you.
Wow.
So
that's incredible.
We're aligned.
First time ever in DadToons Reviews history. Our long history.
Opinion.
Yes.
And so if I would have went with my gut, same score. Like I already had in my mind that a 6. I was like, this is a 6. But I'm like, but I have to justify it. We've just started our careers as movie reviewers.
Yes,
right?
Yes. Professionals.
I'm calibrating my scoring. So bear with me. But I think so far my only mistake was giving Lilo and Stitch a 7, and I've upgraded it to an 8.5.
That's right.
Because of my journalistic integrity. So here on DadToons, that's what we're all about.
We are all about journalistic integrity. That is our motto. We talked off stage here about doing a favorite frame and a favorite line. Do you have those prepared?
Yes. My favorite frame.
Okay.
21-21.
Okay.
So set 21, your DVD 21. Players. 21,
That's early.
21.
Okay.
This is Toothless eating a fish out of the water.
Okay.
And the water looks like it's from a Nintendo 64 game. I loved it. It was great.
You love that part of it. Okay.
That's my favorite frame. Yes.
My favorite frame is very early on in the movie. I can't pinpoint it exactly, but I'm going to put it on the screen here. When we see Astrid for the first time, and she's walking away from a giant explosion like she's in a Michael Bay movie. I thought that was awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. So I like the idea of looking for a favorite frame because even if it's a movie we dislike,
sure,
we can probably find at least 1/30th of a second that we think is good.
Yeah. So favorite line. What's your favorite line?
Towards the end, Christopher Mintz-Plass's character says, "We're on dragons, all of us."
That's so good.
Only line in the movie that made me laugh out loud.
That's amazing. That's like one of his 5 lines.
It's like, we're on dragons, all of us. I don't know why I thought it was so funny.
Here's the one that stuck out to me. When Hiccup's dad, Stoic, is angry and he captures Toothless, and he's like the dragon will take us to the lair. It'll take us to the nest. He says to Toothless, he goes, "Lead us home, devil." And I liked that a lot. That one stuck out to me. It just felt nice and iconic and a nice dramatic line.
Toothless devil. He should have been scarier looking.
Yeah.
Like give him something that makes him scary. I get why they didn't. But
yeah, at least make him scary when the teeth come out. The teeth aren't even sharp.
Yeah, it's not scary.
Yeah.
It needs to be scarier.
Anyways, that was our retrospective on How to Train Your Dragon 2010. I think, it was an okay movie to watch. It wasn't too painful.
It was perfectly serviceable. It was a perfectly serviceable movie. Nothing offensive about it, but nothing to write home to grandma about either.
Yeah, so if you enjoyed watching this and hearing us talk, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. We want to do a lot of these in the near future.
That would be wonderful.
Next thing we're going to do is How to Train Your Dragon live action. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, if you've watched this video all the way through, send it to your grandma. Just with no explanation, just send her the video. Maybe she'll like it. Maybe
and if she doesn't respond, send a question mark. And then if she still doesn't respond, send some more question marks.
And then let us know how that goes. We're very excited to hear about it.
Dad Toons, grab a snack and you can sit down. Watch some daddies talking about animation now. Tell you what they like and what they also didn't too. Dad Toons about to hit you with a great review. Hey!